Hello and welcome to GMT. I'm Lucy Hockings. The United States has imposed sanctions against Turkey over its attack on the Syrian Kurds and demanded an immediate ceasefire. But Turkey's offensive continues and the already complex conflict in Syria does look to be entering a dangerous new phase. And that's because the Syrian regime forces are on the move to help Kurdish fighters, setting up a potentially dangerous confrontation with Ankara. The recent escalation in violence comes after President Trump withdrew dozens of US troops from northeastern Syria. After criticism, though, from both Democrats and Republicans, the White House has now backtracked. US Vice President Mike Pence explained why sanctions against Ankara were being rolled out now.
President Trump made it very clear that the United States is going to continue to take actions against Turkey's economy until they bring the violence to an end. We want an immediate ceasefire, and we want to begin negotiations between Turkey and Syrian defense forces. And President Trump again offered to have the United States of America mediate in those discussions.
US Vice President Mike Pence there. Well, let's take you straight to Martin Patience, who's on the Turkey-Syria border and joins us now. Martin, what's happening on the ground today?
Well, Turkey's response to these sanctions, more bombardment a short while ago on the town of Ras Al Ain. That's been the focus of Turkey's offensive, along with the other town of Tel Abyad. There's been no official word from the Turkish president on these sanctions, but as we're seeing on the ground, this offensive is continuing. For President Erdogan, this operation has enormous domestic support. He regards Kurdish fighters as terrorists, and he appears determined to push them away from the border. But there are now some reports in the Turkish media suggesting that he may well curtail this operation. He may not go into all the towns that he threatened to do. So American pressure could be coming to bear. What's interesting about all of this, it was Donald Trump who, of course, effectively greenlit this operation a week ago. Well, now he's changed his tune, and the Turkish leader will need to reassess his options.
And Martin, how much involvement are we seeing now of the Syrian army?
Well, the Syrian army is pushed up to several towns and villages close to the border. I think what everybody's looking at is the town of Kobani. That's a potential flashpoint where you could have a situation that Syrian government troops come into contact with pro-Turkish troops. Now, we understand that Syrian government troops are inside that town. We have pro-Turkish fighters on the outside of the town. They've yet to move in. They apparently haven't been given the order. But if that did happen, that could potentially be a very serious incident indeed, because what you would have essentially Turkey facing off against the Syrian government, which, let's not forget, is backed by Russia and Iran. That is the danger now in Syria, that potentially it could trigger something far worse.
And there are so many changing dynamics, Martin, with the Kurds saying they feel stabbed in the back by the US, now calling on the Syrians to help them. Are they worried that they're going to lose control politically and in terms of, what they control in that area, that they'll lose that perhaps to the Syrians?
Absolutely. I think there's two issues. I mean, they've already lost at least two key towns that were under their control. It's only a matter of time until they're taken by the Turkish military. In terms of this agreement with the Syrian government, well, Kurdish leaders are saying, look, it was a painful compromise, but we simply had no other choice. So they will come under the governance of the Syrian regime. I think many Kurds are very ambivalent about that. They've sat out much of the civil war, but now without American support they feel abandoned. And one man said to me, one man said to the BBC, we simply had no other choice. The reality was we cannot fight the Turkish military alone.
Martin, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us with that from the Turkey-Syria border.